Awesome. Thanks. All right. So, who am I? In short, I'm just a small girl from Brooklyn trying to find my way through tech. Quick overview of my journey. So, got to shout out my background. I come from poor immigrant family, and I'm a first generation college graduate as well. I know so many of y'all out there come from underrepresented backgrounds, so I know the struggle is real. Y'all got this. Went to New York City public school, had the great chance to go to New York City prep school on a full scholarship, did that, had the wonderful opportunity to go to Yale. Once I got there, being a first generation student, I knew that I had all these passions and I had no idea what I was doing, right? So I was working multiple jobs to try to pay the bills and get by day to day, but also on the side doing activism, leading clubs. And even when it came down to my classes, I was interested in economics and architecture and computer science. So shout out to what Ethan said. Definitely take like business and economics classes. Part of the reason why I'm a PM instead of a software engineer. But in thinking about what I wanted, I started thinking about long term, what do I want to do? Coming from the background that I did, I knew that I wanted to make money because at the end of the day, I want to be able to take care of my single mother, get her a home. And as you all know, buying a home in New York City is not cheap, right? But more than that, like in thinking of my entire career, I knew that I wanted to be able to choose and pivot. I Given that tech is in every industry, it just made sense for me because it didn't feel like I was pigeonholing myself to a small thing for the rest of my life, my working life. I wanted to be able to do decision making, right? So in my computer science classes, I realized that I actually really love the logic, the algorithms, creating the systems architecture, all of that, but not necessarily like the hours of brutal coding just to find the misplaced comma when I'm debugging, right? And in all, I knew that in my career, I wanted to make a big impact. So I wanted to solve real problems for real people. And so at the end of the day, when I considered all of this, CS of all the things that I was doing made the most sense for me in terms of my career. And even within that, um, while I was, doing a software engineering internship, I realized that the person who was making the decisions, who was figuring out the real impact, that person was the product manager, not necessarily the software engineer. And this changes from company to company, but um, that opened my mind up to product management. And so, actually, in the beginning of 2020, even before, um, even before the pandemic started, that's where I met Yassine at a boot camp that we were both going through. And I had taken the year off, decided to take the year off to focus on my mental health and figure out my purpose. Sorry about that. Let me just cool, go back. All right. So as part of that boot camp, me and the few friends that I made in that, we ended up turning our boot camp project into a startup that helps tech folks, early career tech folks, find jobs at socially impactful companies, right? I've now exited that and we've moved beyond that. But through that, I really found my purpose and my love for product and the entire product experience from, user research to figuring out the problem to uh, designing our code base onto iteration, A/B testing, etc. Had to go back to school because I wanted to get my degree, finish that up, and had the incredible luck to make it at Capital One and find my footing in the corporate world. All right, so here are a few lessons to my younger self. Now that I'm here, and just a note, I've now since left Capital One after my 2-year rotational program. I figured there was layoffs all across the company, and I felt like my career was plateauing there, and my growth was plateauing. So I'm now on the job market, just like you guys. All right, so here are some lessons to my younger self. I'll go through these quickly. First, in the real world or in the corporate world, unlike at school, there's much longer timelines for success and growth. We don't have immediate feedback in the form of tests and quizzes and assignments like every single week. So, one thing that I really had to learn was patience, finding reward in work and ways to figure out how to improve myself and get feedback along the way. Second, shout out to Ethan again. He stole the thunder here. Great managers make careers, right? So it's not necessarily
Larissa,
on the company. Yes.
sorry to cut you off. I think your
Yeah.
screen isn't sharing. Like if you're sharing, we just see your cover screen.
What's the cover screen?
Tips and tidbits from Larissa. Anyway,
Oh, goodness gracious. Has that been the case the entire time?
yeah, it's all good. You can just
Okay.
see where you're at. No
Yeah.
worries.
Can you see it now or not really?
We can see your screen. We just don't see anything. Oh, I see your arrow. Yeah. Maybe move on to the next slide.
I'm on lessons to my younger self.
No, I can't see that for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is strange.
Yeah.
Let me try a new share.
Yeah. I thought that's how it's supposed to be. So you carry.
Oh, no, 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 not at all. That's what I meant earlier when I was like, do y'all see this? Um,
Okay. Yeah. You can stop the sharing and start sharing again. That's an idea.
all right. Um, how about now?
Yep. You got it.
Okay. Because
Go.
it said,
Yeah.
so just in case you wanted to see the rest of this, um, I'm not going to repeat this, but these were the slides I did have and that I was scrolling through thinking that you guys were watching along the way. All right, so this is where I am. Lessons to my younger self. Right, we're almost done. Um, Ethan stole my thunder here, or just like plus 1,000 to what Ethan said about great managers. And not only from what he said about like they're the ones who are protecting you from corporate BS, but also like great managers are the ones who are going to give you opportunities to grow, right? They're going to expand your scope. They're going to challenge you and support you when you are challenged, when you're struggling. And so in my current job search right now, I'm not looking only for a great company, but mostly for a great manager. And then lastly, make sure that you're ready to kill the first 90 days and start up running. These are two books that I definitely suggest to anyone: The Unspoken Rules by Gordon and The First 90 Days by Michael Watkins. All right, I'll pause there for questions. And I'm so sorry that Zoom share was being weird for me this entire
Awesome.
time.
Awesome. Looks like people got the idea. They started asking the questions already. I like that. Larissa, feel free to stop sharing your screen. So it's just like
Yeah,
you.
cool.
There you are. So I have a question for you,
Mhm.
which is what is your motivation right now? Because you've done a lot of different things. You've done a startup, you've done product. Like what, and you also said that for you it's very important to like have make money, right? So what
Yeah.
is your motivation right now? What is your next big thing? Or what is your yeah, what do you look
Yeah,
forward to?
so I'm really looking forward to going back
Mhm.
into startup world and going to a mission-driven organization. I didn't mention this, but even within my roles in Capital One, um, the roles that I chose were pretty mission-driven. So the first rotation I was in was very much about